Hi everyone, I thought I might just prepare a quick video to show you how to create something like a truss structure using Fusion, but really specifically we're talking about wanting to take this design to use for the laser cutter. Okay, I'm going to assume that you already know some basics about Fusion, so I'm not going to explain every little thing that I'm going to do if I can. Essentially, I'm choosing the best work plane or orientation that I want to choose to start with. I'm going to start from the center of my universe there. I'm just going to make this one very simple, 150 by 50 millimeters. Okay. There's a couple of different things we can do here. I actually think for what I'm going to show you, it makes sense to stop with this at the moment and act on this and then do the sort of triangular truss structure. Hopefully you'll understand why. So typically we would then finish the sketch and then we would want to extrude the sketch to become a solid form like so. We don't actually want to do that in this case. Over here, we've got this button here called Thin Extrude. If we click on this Thin Extrude, what we can do is we can select the outer edges. Now, it may well be that because I've only got this one profile shape here to start with, it probably predicted that I wanted to work with that, but it doesn't really matter. Down here, it's asking me to give the distance. Now, what that's really talking about is going to be like the thickness of the material that we use. So in this case, if I'm going to use 3mm plywood, for example, we might extrude that way. And notice that it defaults to 1mm thick. I actually want to make this maybe 5mm thick. And you can see the preview there that it's giving me. And I'm going to go, okay. Oh, I don't like it. Looks like I'm in a wireframe. I don't like that one. I want to go shaded with visible edges. All right, that's a little bit easier to see. So now I've got kind of like the outline of the side profile of like a tower structure or something like that. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to select that surface, and I'm going to right click, create sketch. And in a very similar way to what I've just done. Now you could go and use construction lines and things like this to set up some rules or parameters for you. I'm not going to worry too much about that right at the moment, but I am going to use the line tool to just draw some simple lines like so. I might decide that that isn't quite what I want, but that will do me for the purpose of showing you, I'm sure, and finish that sketch. Now, as you would know, that typically isn't really something that makes a lot of sense in Fusion, because we would typically extrude and then do something like that, but that's a bit of a weird, funky kind of concept to get your head around, so that's not what we want to do. We want to do exactly what we did before, use that thin extrude feature. Okay, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. So it's now selected that, it looks like it's selected that entire thing, which is perfect for me. I want to go 3mm again, but this time I think I want to go backwards to do -3mm, because I'm pretty sure it was going to try to extrude it in front towards me. The wall thickness, again, I want to be a little bit thicker than 1mm, but rather than one side, I want wall location. This one is what I want. So on the center, and just so it's all nice and even, I'm going to go 2.5mm, and that's saying that it's going to be 2.5mm. Oh, I thought that that was going to be 2.5mm on either side, but it actually doesn't quite look right there. That looks better. So that surprised me. I wasn't quite expecting that. So now that's 5mm from one side of the member to the other, which works nicely. It matches the outside shape. Rather than go cut, I'm going to go join. Okay. Now that's hopefully starting to look a little bit more normal for you. You could have changed it to be, you know, on that side of the line or perhaps that side of the line. And I wouldn't worry about it too much, but if you think about it, if this was a real steel frame, for example, you might want to consider where those members start and finish. I quite like that in the corner there. That kind of makes sense to me, but maybe that could be refined a little bit more. And I'm just going to go OK. So if I just pivot that around a little bit now, you can see that I've now got thickness to it. And you can imagine if that was going to be the side profile of a frame or something like that. Now, as I said, this is sort of for the purposes of laser cutting a prototype model or something of that nature. So I'm not the scales that I'm using or the sizes that I'm using. Please don't think that I'm actually trying to say that this is, you know, real size steel frame or anything like that. Okay, so from here, the last thing that we want to do to convert it to something that we can actually use for the laser cutter is select that front surface. We would then go create sketch. Immediately, I'm going to finish the sketch, and then over here in our browser, I'm going to find that sketch. It's going to be the last one that I've created, and that's sketch 3 now. If I right-click on that and go export DXF file, okay, I'm going to call this side frame, and if I just, you know, do it on my desktop or something, and save it, that DXF file can then be opened up in Illustrator, which our laser cutter will be able to understand and cut. Just a couple of things to note. When you open it up in Illustrator, you must click the button that says import as original scale, at original scale, or something like that. Or it might ask for scale 1:1. Make sure you do that. Also, the line weight that it gives you won't be right. Okay, so the line weight won't be right for the laser cutter. You would really need to change that to 0.01, that hairline, for the sake of the laser cutter. I hope that helps.